we had a clearly defined 5-point program this spring, which, you know, our green plan was pretty well laid out. It's pretty sensible, pretty practical, and I think we have copies of it here. I'm not going to get into it in great detail because I'm sure many people here know it. But it's leading into conservation, of course. Now, conservation is an issue that's difficult for business to grapple with, and we've allowed that to continue. You know, we all remember Dick Cheney talking about conservation, not the American way. Well, it certainly isn't the way of anybody that's into the energy game. They want, you know, you don't lay down pipelines to people's houses and then reduce the volume of gas they use in the house. I mean, that's not good business. So conservation is not an idea that can come out of what we call the ordinary energy market. That's not going to happen. It has to be a legislated effort. It has to be supported fully by government to make it happen. You know, when we look at the Clean Air Act now, that we've got it to special committee, and we look at what we can do there, and you know that we've picked up a little heat from the Liberals and from the Bloc. They're not totally happy with us because they didn't initiate this. And once again, we've been leading the way, and we've been making an effort that is innovative and useful. And I think that always causes strain among the other parties. But really, and when we looked at it, we set up a number of markers. And when Jack went in and he laid these markers down with Harper and said, look, this is what we want to accomplish if we go this way. And if we don't go this way, we'll use we had an opposition day coming up. We were going to use it for a number of other tactics that could have led to a confidence vote, but most likely would have led in another direction. But it worked very well. Our markers include regulating, of course, including in the regulations, greenhouse gases and air pollution. That has to happen. That has to be in the regulations. It has to be part of the makeup. And there's some very technical issues around that in law that I'm sure that Linda could explain to you much better than I can, but we're on that one. And once again, could have used you there, Linda. It's good stuff. We need short-term targets. We need real targets that reduce greenhouse gas emissions. So that's another marker that we have. That has to come into this bill. That has to be part of the Clean Air Act. And then we look at our main area where we want to see change, and that's in the oil and gas industry. And we're saying one of the markers is changes to the Income Tax Act to take out the subsidies to oil and gas. And then finally, and this is an issue that I know is difficult, and having audited that committee for the House Committee on Natural Resources, where the tar sands have been discussed for the last month. A moratorium on tar sands is going to be a very interesting exercise, but an exercise that has to take place. There's no other option. You know, the options that have been promoted to reduce emissions of tar sands are, to a great degree, are about exporting raw product out of this country. Mm-hmm. You know, if you don't upgrade it, then you're gonna reduce the emissions intensity of what you're doing. But somebody else is going to have to do that as well. At the same time, you know, all the social issues, the environmental issues, the sense that this development is right out of control, are well expressed and need to be outlined by Albertans So those are the 4 markers that we've laid down in this next while. The special committee is scheduled to be set up over the next couple of weeks, and then we'll see how the other parties are. We're going to sit there and reconstruct that bill, and at the end of the day, it'll go to Parliament as a bill of the government. And that will be a very interesting exercise in minority governments. It'll be a great exercise in democracy, and it'll also be a very interesting exercise in actually flushing out where people are on these very important issues leading up to the next election. Because really, without a strong NDP in Parliament, there will be no significant changes on the climate. You know, we've seen what the Liberals can do. They haven't been able to produce. We've seen what the Conservatives are offering up. There really isn't another choice there, other than electing many more New Democrats next time. And you know, in this province, I truly respect the work that the provincial New Democratic Party's done. Ryan Mason, you and I go back, I know, a long way. I remember the kinds of discussions that we had in the 90s on this, and I know you're being very forthright on these issues, and I know that kind of talk is needed just more and more. So together we can make a difference in this country, but we certainly need you from Alberta with us. Thanks.